I should have been talking to Kenny Smith, North Carolina Tar Heel legend, two-time NBA champion, a year ago about legalized sports wagering. So I've got my powder blue FanDuel hat on today because we're talking to Kenny Smith. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I mean, it's an issue I've been talking about for 5 years. Today's finally the first day where we can legally place a bet on our phones, and whether or not you're into it or you're not. We should have all had the right to do this for a while now, and we had to wait a long time here in North Carolina to do it. So, I haven't placed one yet today. It's still early. We haven't had anything go live yet.
Well, I'll tell you what. The first thing is, I know FanDuel believes this as well, as being responsible is the first thing. Right. I mean, but all of us can, we could fly to other cities and which have casinos and actually, place a bet or wager. But the first thing about that is being responsible. And so all you have to do, you said you haven't placed it first. All you have to do is download the app.
That's right.
You download the FanDuel app, and it's also you can get $5 wager, you'll receive another $250 in bonus bets. So you get to bet an extra $250 just by registering today, man. So go ahead and do it.
Absolutely.
Download the app, follow the instructions. It's pretty simple.
I've already got the app, so I'm going to do that. Which if everything I bet on is $5, I'll have how many more bets to lose?
You got nothing to lose for a while.
I'll be fine.
Nothing to lose for a while.
I'll be fine for like a month. Considering,
not if you win, you better be better.
Yes, but
Don't think like that.
We know how
Don't think like you're gonna lose.
Well, you know what? I'm about, like most people, I'm about 50-50. Right?
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
I mean, it's still not necessarily a winning hand, but 50-50. But depending on how daring you get with underdogs and whatnot. So, all right, if I told you right now that the Tar Heels and the Blue Devils, because I was just looking at this, on FanDuel right now, are the same odds to win the ACC tournament, they're both plus 180. Would you be surprised?
I wouldn't be surprised, but I know who I'd put mine on. Being a North Carolina Tar Heel, watching them win twice. But, it is hard to beat a team 3 times, for sure.
Right.
In any sporting competition. So, I mean, those are the premier schools, obviously. So, I'm not surprised. No, I would not be surprised.
All right. But my only feel is that I just don't think that, like, when you played, it was different, right? When you played the ACC tournament, because we weren't at – although we were pretty close to getting into the 64-team field. And maybe when you got to the ACC tournament, you guys knew you would be at worst an at-large team in the NCAAs. But the tournaments then just carried a lot more meaning than they seem to today. For a lot of schools, these are almost tune-ups at this point. And both Duke and North Carolina know that they're going to the next tournament, and that is, unfortunately, maybe for a lot of reasons, has taken on a different, maybe a more important meaning.
Well, yeah, honestly, when the years I was there, it was to be a 1 seed. Right. That's an important number because you really count 6 wins. You're trying to count down from 6 wins.
Right.
And if you're a 1 seed, you're really counting down for 5. Let's be honest. Like. You should be counting from 5. So that extra, playing a team, which it's happened, but the odds of it happening are so astronomical that you lose to such a low seed. If you're a 1 seed, it just rarely happens in the history. When it happens, we all go shocked, like when Virginia happened a couple of years ago. But those things don't happen. So you're counting down from 5. That is a big bonus to be a number 1 seed.
Oh, there is no doubt. But although when we expand the tournament to 195 teams soon, those 16 seeds are going to be better teams.
Still, I'd take my chances.
Yeah. No, you're right.
I'd take my chances at a school who a lot of them have gone close to 500. For the year.
Right.
to get in, and they've gotten in that tournament because, some of the conferences have that kind of feel. I would take my chances anytime in that situation.
Kenny Smith is joining us at the Jet on TNT. We'll talk a little bit about the NBA here in a second, and I'll work some odds in as well as we're celebrating our first day to legally wager on sports here in the state of North Carolina. But going back to your playing in this Duke Carolina game, because I've already seen so many videos of Duke fans, Duke students being brutal to R.J. Davis and Cormac Ryan in the pregame, and I know it goes on in other places as well. What were your thoughts or your memories of early before the game starts and how you were treated over in Durham?
Well, I wasn't such a pregame shooter. I always figured a lot of times in college, if I didn't have it by 7 o'clock, I'm not going to have it by 7:30. So I never really went out and shot a lot, pregame. But the one thing about playing in Cameron is the proximity of the fans. That's really it. The way that the stadium is built, it's so small. Everyone is within earshot of everything that you say, which most arenas you are not.
Right.
And so they're saying the same things, but you're not in earshot of everyone. And, they have those, I think they probably have a how to cheer class at in Cameron.
Yeah, sort of.
So, where you sit and they give you the memo of what, I know at one time they used to give memos out.
Yeah.
Of what everyone would say during certain things. We used to see them on the floor after the game. So we're like, oh, they're inventive, but they're not that inventive.
No.
You know what I mean? So they do have a memo of what's going to be said and how they're going to say it. I mean, but you're a college, like R.J. Davis and Ryan, those guys have been in ACC wars. They're not going to be, I would say, flustered by that.
No, and they certainly weren't. If Cormac Ryan was flustered by it, 31 points later, I think we all would have said, man, if he was flustered, he might have scored 50. He was
Well, it does make your antennas go up. So you do lock in much more when you have that type of proximity. It almost feels like a high school game because of the proximity of the court.
Kenny Smith is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Have you been back at Cameron for a Duke Carolina game since you left?
Never.
Really?
No. I would never go there. I've been at Chapel Hill, but there's no reason for me to sit and be part of the show when I just want to see the show. And I know if I went, or any former player, we become part of the show. For me, that's not something I'd want to be.
That's because your son was a Tar Heel for a while, so I thought maybe you'd kind of sneak over there and just put on a cap and just stand behind the bench and watch your
you're not putting on a cap. I watch it. I rather watch the highlights. I rather watch the replays. I rather hear the announcers tell me who has how many fouls instead of being berated or barraged with things going on. And most of the time, honestly, I've been doing the games, the college basketball Final Four, so we're preparing for ourselves for the March Madness, which is the following week.
When does your preparation, and I know you watch college basketball because you're a basketball head like all those guys are, but when does your real preparation for the tournament begin?
Well, it starts, when I first took it on, I did have an advantage because I used to coach a lot of AAU basketball at the high level, at the highest level. I have a program called Jet Academy that's in the EYBL, which is the Nike League, the highest of the high. And so, I knew a lot of the kids, by either seeing them playing against them or playing with me. Just hadn't seen them yet in college. So I had an advantage individually. But now it's all year. But there's always going to be, with 64 teams, 70, more than 64 now, with the with the early games, that there's going to be schools that you could not have seen.
Right.
I mean, I was watching Drake Indiana State last night. I mean, how many times is Drake on television like that I could find
Right.
and know what day it is? So there's going to be games and teams you're not going to be aware of. You're learning as the process goes. You know the top 20, 25 schools pretty well. But after that, if anyone tells you they know the rest, they're all lying.
Right.
I'm just, when I fill out my bracket, I'm going to take Indiana State because if they fortunate enough to get in after losing, I'm going to take them because they got powder blue uniforms.
Right, and who knows? Maybe Larry Bird will show up, and
Exactly.
the Sycamores will advance. Kenny Smith is joining us here. All right, right now is looking at the odds in the West to get to the NBA Finals, or it might be to win the title. And the Clippers are plus 500, and the Nuggets are plus 400. Man, if I think those are two of the. I mean, those are two of the best teams. Celtics still have to prove it to me. The Nuggets have already done it. Who do you like in the West?
Well, the Western Conference, they are the cream of the crop. But the thing that everyone worries about the Clippers. Even last night, if you watch the game, you have three guys. The top three guys are sitting out, and with Russell Westbrook being injured for a multitude of games. So health has always been the reason why the Clippers have not been close, a little more close to smelling an NBA championship. So if Kawhi Leonard, Paul George are healthy along with Westbrook, then that plus 500 makes sense. But if they're not, which they haven't been, that has been the difference.
Kenny Smith is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. What are the odds? If I had to set a FanDuel.com or the mobile app odds on Shaq or Chuck beating you to the board, plus what? Plus 25,000?
I would say plus 30,000.
Plus, I mean, you have to.
They only win when they cheat. Because I have to watch on multiple sides, and what I have to just start doing is not watching and just go. But they have an advantage because I'm talking, so they start moving and turning their chair. And most people think our studio, that run is like 100 yards. That run is 4 steps. That's it. It's the first to 4 steps. And so whoever gets the first step always wins. There's no way that you can lose if you have the first step. So it's impossible to win sometimes if they don't leave the same time I do.
Even Chuck? I would think you could recover if Chuck gets the first step. My money would be on you.
I can recover on the first step if I've already turned.
Okay.
But if I haven't turned, I still can't recover. I'm telling you that. It's only 4 steps to that board, to those stairs.
Kenny Smith, before I let you go, is there any other words of wisdom you have for the masses on our first day of allowable sports wagering here in North Carolina?
Without question. As I said before with FanDuel myself, take gaming responsibility seriously. It's the number one sportsbook app. It's going to be easy to operate, so simple. You're going to go on, get $5, and you're going to get $250 extra in bonus bets, and then good luck the rest of the way.
Absolutely. And and stick with powder blue, right?
And stick with powder blue, and you won't go too bad.
Kenny, I appreciate your time, man.
Thanks a lot.
You got it. Kenny Smith here on the Adam Gold Show.